Hello, boys and girls. It's Mrs. Taylor, and it's time for another story. But before we get started, what do we need to do? Check your 5. Body still, hands in lap, eyes watching, ears boop, turned on, and lips zipped. Lock it, put it in your pocket. Good job. Today's story is Fish is Fish, written and illustrated by Leo Lionni, the same person that wrote and illustrated the book Swimmy that we read earlier this week. So Leo not only wrote the words, but also drew the pictures. Are you ready? Let's dive in. At the edge of the woods, there was a pond, and there a minnow and a tadpole swam among the weeds. They were inseparable friends, bestest friends. One morning, the tadpole discovered that during the night, he had grown 2 little legs. Do you see? "Look," he said triumphantly. "Look, I am a frog." "Nonsense," said the minnow. "How could you be a frog if only last night you were a little fish, just like me?" They argued and argued until finally the tadpole said, "Frogs are frogs and fish is fish, and that is that." In the weeks that followed, the tadpole grew tiny front legs, and his tail got smaller and smaller. And then, one day, a real frog now, he climbed out of the water onto the grassy bank. The minnow, too, had grown and become a full-fledged fish. He often wondered where his 4-footed friend had gone, but days and weeks went by, and the frog did not return. Then, one day, with a happy splash that shook the weeds, the frog jumped into the pond. "Where have you been?" asked the fish excitedly. "I have been about the world, hopping here and there," said the frog, "and I have seen extraordinary things." "Like what?" asked the fish. "Birds," said the frog mysteriously. "Birds." And he told the fish about the birds, who had wings and 2 legs and many colors. As the frog talked, his friend saw the birds flying through his mind like large feathered fish. So see this little bubble? Remember, this is called a thought bubble. That's what he's thinking. Is that what birds look like? Do they look like fish? No. "What else?" asked the fish impatiently. "Cows," said the frog. "They have 4 legs, horns, eat grass, and carry pink bags of milk." So look what he's imagined. Is that what cows look like? No. "And people," said the frog. "Men, women, children." And he talked and talked until it was dark in the pond. But the picture in the fish's mind was full of lights and colors and marvelous things, and he couldn't sleep. If only he could jump about like his friend and see the wonderful world. Is that what people look like? No. That's what he thinks the world looks like. Can you imagine if we all looked like fish? And so the days went by. The frog had gone, and the fish just lay there dreaming about birds in flight, grazing cows, and those strange animals all dressed up that his friend called people. One day he finally decided that come what may, he too must see them. And so, with a mighty whack of the tail, he jumped clear out of the water onto the bank. He landed in the dry, warm grass, and there he lay, gasping for air, unable to breathe or move. "Help!" he groaned feebly. Are fish supposed to be out of water? No. Luckily, the frog, who had been hunting butterflies nearby, saw him and with all his strength pushed him back into the pond. Still stunned, the fish floated around for an instant. Then he breathed deeply, letting the clean, cool water run through his gills. Now he felt weightless again, and with an ever so slight motion of the tail, he could move to and fro, up and down as before. He couldn't move on land, could he? The sun rays reached down within the weeds and gently shifted patches of luminous color. This world was surely the most beautiful of all the worlds. He smiled at his friend the frog, who sat watching him from a lily leaf. "You were right," he said. "Fish is fish." The end. Did you enjoy our story, boys and girls? I hope that you did. Remember that we love you and we miss you so very much.